Hey, wrestling fans, and welcome once again to another edition of Wrestling After Show, coming at you from the palatial After Show studios right here in the heart of the Mid-Atlantic territory. My name is Heath Haynes.
I'm Jonny Fairplay.
And we're here to talk wrestling, ladies and gentlemen, what we like, a little bit about what we don't like, and about the modern product. And we're talking about classic wrestling as well. The best of both worlds every week right here on Wrestling After Show.
I have a question.
What's that?
So the podcast, or the broadcast, if you will, is Wrestling After Show with Jonny Fairplay and Heath Haynes.
That's right.
But every week, it's Heath Haynes and Jonny Fairplay if you look at the names.
Okay. That sounds like an even split to me, man. You know.
Well, no. So it's a little.
Sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't.
Oh.
Right here on Wrestling After Show.
601, half dozen of another.
Well, he's the nut. I'm not, ladies and gentlemen. We're here to talk about, again, the things we like in professional wrestling. Before we get started, though, of course, do all those YouTube-y social media things that everybody's entreating you to do constantly. Throw a like. Be sure to subscribe. Leave a comment under the video if you're listening on one of our audio-only platforms. Leave a review if that's a deal, or thumbs up, or whatever. Just any interaction that you can provide, ladies and gentlemen. We're begging you.
Helps the algorithm.
It's the algorithm that rules us all. Apparently in our modern times. And speaking of modern times, we're going to talk about some modern wrestling to kick off. But stay tuned if you like the classic stuff, because at the end of the show today,
we got a good one.
We're going to be talking about our Starrcade Sleeper. Remember, it's our series that we're doing for the entire month of November. Starrcade Sleepers, the matches from Starrcade that you might possibly have slept on. It's all right there in the title.
Do we have an Alex Wright Starrcade Sleeper?
I'm not going past. I'm not. How many weeks do we have left? So we did 83, 84, 85. We're capping out at 86.
Okay.
That's
so
it.
we're not.
That's it.
We're
not even going to Chicago. We're not even getting out of the Mid-Atlantic territory.
Okay. No Alex Wright Disco Inferno.
No, thank you.
Okay.
So in the WWE, the big story again, it seems to dominate most of our conversation nowadays on Wrestling After Show, is the never-ending, always evolving saga of the Bloodline.
Oh, yeah.
And we can officially stop our will they, won't they countdown clock that we've kind of had going on. They are definitely having the tribal combat war games at Survivor Series, old school Bloodline
with a twist
versus new school Bloodline.
5-on-5. I honestly thought Solo Sikoa screwed up his line when he said 5.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So let's dive into it. So last week on SmackDown, we saw not the sit down, if you will, but Jey Uso had, made the overture to Sami Zayn to come to SmackDown to talk about, all the issues surrounding the Bloodline right now.
But with the OTC.
Yeah, Sammy obliges, comes out, and makes his case in front of the world. And I thought it was dynamite. And he was, he references in his in his promo, he's talking about when they were in Crown Jewel and it was all four of them in the ring, he was getting that old feeling. Well, right there, I was getting that old feeling from him being in the ring
and trying to pop
and trying to get everybody to break. Hilarious.
Is that what we have Sammy here?
That's his role. That's his role, man.
It, as unprofessional as that is, I'm here for it.
It's a dynamic that made his role in the Bloodline special, because of course Roman Reigns has to take it all so seriously.
So serious.
It's the Bloodline, it's tradition, it's family, it's all these serious things.
It's all these serious.
It's like, hey, but
it's the homeless side to make you laugh.
Sam comes in as your wacky homeless uncle. And I think he definitely, they're not if they just look away. Yeah. If you see him kind of do that, it's like, you got him.
You got him. And I don't think I think Paul Heyman's fingerprints are still all over.
Oh
this.
yeah, for sure.
You know,
for
like
sure.
even though he's not there, he's there.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know, there's been screenshots and video of him at the building. Like,
Yeah,
so
he's around.
He's there.
Around.
He's not there to high five the girls. He's there to write the bloodline storyline.
Yeah.
And high five the girls.
And high five the girls.
Yeah. So, but I have a gut feeling, and I could be totally wrong. I have a gut feeling the script is bullet points, and maybe for Jimmy it's stick to this. You know, like this is your verbiage, or who's to say? Okay. But I think it is not a line for line. Here's your script. And Sammy, like, you know, they go over it, you know, in the back broad term wise, and then they all leave, and Paul's like, Sammy, real quick.
Okay.
Yeah. and it's just like, here's the line.
They got to get where they're going.
Yeah.
And they know where they're going.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I feel like, especially with Sammy, you know, it's like, just get us there. Yeah. Just get us to where we're going. And so where they were.
But I know you're in love with me. And I'm just like, oh my God. And Roman, like, Roman's done a pretty good job most times with the Sammy trying to pop him. He had nothing he was just like, motherfucker.
Yeah, he got popped. And then of course, and then Roman with the why are you wasting my time? Yeah, I am sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry you're wasting my time with this fool.
Yeah. But they didn't even mean it because the pop was so good.
Okay. So at this point in the segment, we get to kind of my favorite part, and it was the sweet Jacob Fatu pre-tape from the back.
God.
This guy.
That's his best promo yet.
And there hasn't been a bad one.
No.
So, yeah, they just get better and better. This guy, Jacob Fatu, when they turn him loose.
Oh, my God.
It's over, man. Look out.
With Paul Heyman, because we're just getting a little, as I said, this all this has Paul Heyman's fingerprints on.
Yeah.
But just imagine Jacob Fatu just being Jacob Fatu.
Yeah.
And that promo.
And with Paul Heyman just standing there holding whatever belt it is and letting fucking Jacob Fatu cut the promo. That guy, I mean, it's energy, it's aura for days, it's believability and authenticity. Yeah. He is that guy. Yeah. And he cuts the little has the pre-tape back in the back, and he's like, I don't know if you heard, Solo Sikoa doesn't answer to you anymore, Roman Reigns. He'll be out here, at the end of the night.
Yeah.
And so they come out once again at the end of the night. Solo Sikoa asking Roman Reigns, all you got to do is acknowledge me.
Yeah, it's the acknowledgement ceremony.
He still won't do it. And then we get to the part that you referenced earlier. I honestly thought that Solo had screwed up the math as well. He's like, where he tells Roman Reigns, hey, all you got to do, and you can't even do this, is you can't find 4 guys that are going to team up with you. And so it was clunky because they hadn't even gotten to talk about War Games. And then it's like, I think Roman Reigns kind of does an ad lib where he's like, are you talking about War Games? Because I think maybe Solo. So I think it did not come off.
I think we missed a long. I think he was like, War Games is coming up. You can't even find 4 more guys.
Yeah. And
I think that's how we're. So I think there was a line left out by Solo that Roman filled in, which is fine. But I was sitting there
on his feet.
I was thinking Roman's just like, 5 guys. Like, we're not doing traditional War Games. We're doing 4-on-4 is where I thought that the cover was really going to come.
Yeah.
And he was just like, I can find whatever. And I'm just like,
he's like, I only see 4 guys. Who's the 5th guy? And that's when, he's like, my dog, Sami Zayn. I was like, oh shit. And then Sammy comes out and he's got that fucking look on his face. It's like, hey, fucker, you had your chance.
Yeah. It's like the girl that you can take to the prom, but you want the other girl.
Always high school with you.
It is. Well, I feel like there's a relatability there. Hey, whoever didn't go to high school here turn off turn it off. Right
this is a wrestling podcast. There's a chance that several members of our audience maybe did not go to high school.
They were there, and they probably didn't go to the prom. So they're just like, oh, hold on. Tell me these moments. I want to hear all about it.
Yeah.
So no, it's you got the girl you can always take to the prom, but you're always aiming higher. And Sammy's just like, look, man, I was a good we would have done stuff in the back of the limo.
This metaphor is so problematic and not even fitting, but that's why you watch Wrestling After Show. Sammy comes in not to join the new bloodline, but to save the day for the original bloodline, and we leave SmackDown. All 4 original bloodline members in the ring with the ones up.
Yeah. Did you go to the prom?
I went to at our high school.
Yeah.
Prom was really only for juniors and seniors.
Correct.
But I went as a sophomore because I was in marching band.
Oh.
I was a marching band kid.
This one time at band camp.
My section leader in marching band was a young lady who had not gone. It was her senior year, and she had not gone to any prom.
Yeah.
All 3 years because she was like, I'm only going to go to senior prom. That's it. And like 2 weeks before senior prom, her boyfriend broke up with her.
Oh.
And so I was like, I'll take you to prom. So I jumped in. And so I went to prom my sophomore year when I wasn't even supposed to go. And then the big prom was like, because I had the long time, we had the girlfriend like all year.
Yeah.
And then we went to junior prom, and that was fucking fun. We went to prom. We went to the after party at the Squire Armory.
Whoa!
And
look at you, big time.
And stayed out all night and watched the sunrise at Bonner Junior High School. That like out on the athletic field at Bonner, watched the sun come up. It was a hell of a night for a young 16-year-old Heath Haynes.
Wow! Senior prom,
and it was a late one. A senior prom. By that time, we had broke up.
Yeah,
and I did not go to senior prom.
All right, so. I did not go to any early proms.
Okay.
My mom, who was
prom date? Sorry, but you queued it up, man.
No, it's worse. It's fucking worse.
Right.
My mom was an attractive mom.
She still is.
Yeah. And so I did not go to sophomore or freshman prom.
Yeah.
My mom was invited to the prom every year. By one of my friends, whatever age category, my mom was invited. She never went, but she was invited every year. So junior year didn't work out. I didn't go to the prom. So senior year, this is it.
Yeah.
And I'm doubling down. I'm like, this is going to happen. There's a girl I liked, and I was just like, okay, we're going to the prom. So prior to the prom, we had the senior Europe trip.
Oh, wow.
So I went with Q and Vicky Jones.
Mm-hmm.
We went to Germany.
That's right. That was a thing. I forgot. Yeah, go ahead.
So it was Germany, Austria, and Italy.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was me and Bert Falge, and I can't remember, James Lynn and a few others. And so we go. And on our trip that, so we have the chaperones, which are Q and Vicky. And then we have a tour leader, that's paid for by the group, to take us on all these things. We have this lady, and in our group, it was us, the GW Europe trip class, and an all-girls Catholic school, seniors.
All right.
So, and the girl that I was taking to the prom, she was on this trip as well.
Okay.
Well, we're in Europe. All bets are off. Right? Is that
right? Is that so?
That's the rules I was adhering to.
Okay.
And so I'm all in on the Boston all girls Catholic school deal, and I'm like, hey, whatever, and literally worked it out for like the last night to seal the deal, with this, and of course, in an attempt to seal the deal, Q Jones is sitting there with a chair in front of my door to my room, and I'm just like, "Whoa!" And he's like, "Fair play."
You're pretty easy to read.
Fair play, he goes, "This is where I'm spending the night."
Yeah.
In front of your door.
Not getting away with shit.
And I was like, "Dude, do you not understand?" He goes, I fully
understand. Yeah.
So anyway,
Do you understand?
Oh, I figured it out. I figured it out real quick. So fast forward, we get back. I'm just like, hey, everything's good, right? She's like, no, everything's not all right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, well, screw you. We're done. We're not going to go. So
No prom?
So it's over. Day before the prom.
Okay.
She calls. I won't accept the phone call. Calls multiple times.
All right.
I won't. So ends up going with this guy that graduated the year before. So my senior prom night, I go with Derek Johnson to the Tesla 5-man acoustical jam at Walnut Creek Amphitheater.
Oh man,
Yeah.
That's you could have left that part out.
Yeah.
So anyway, ladies and gentlemen,
hey, I feel like most of our watchers and
probably have prom tragedy stories,
comparable stories here. Feel free to leave them in the comments.
Leave those prom tragedies in the comments, ladies and gentlemen. So jump to last night.
I think we got a reel.
As we're taping this, ladies and gentlemen, last night on Raw, again, the SmackDown, the Bloodline story is evolving.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, just 4 on 4. There's 4 y'all. There's 4 of these guys.
What's the problem?
Just do that.
Why does anyone else need to be involved in this?
They're trying to do a 5 on 5, so you have both sides working the angles, trying to get another member for each team. Both teams approach Seth Rollins, who rebuffs both of them.
Yeah.
And did anybody else get approached last night?
Yeah. You saw in the background, if you're paying attention, one of the Usos was talking to Rey Mysterio. He said no.
Oh, yeah, and then one of the Usos tried to talk to Braun Breaker.
Yeah, I think Jay talked to Braun Breaker.
No, Jimmy tried to talk to Braun.
Oh, was it Jimmy?
Yeah.
Okay. So tried to talk to Braun. So that's a curious one. Because let's talk about our actual vital or real candidates of who could be. I mean, I feel like the obvious is Cody and Kevin Owens, but I got money on Kevin versus Cody in a.
That's going to be a match.
I think that's going to be a match,
yeah,
right?
It's going to be a match. Yeah.
Okay, so but let's just say it's not a match. Those are 2 viable candidates to go. Cody with the good guys. Kevin with the bad guys.
Yeah.
Okay, that's on the table.
I disagree with that one, but go ahead.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I think we have to reference it, and so if they're not having a singles match, Kevin's on the bad guys, Cody's on the good guys. If they're not having a single, do you agree with that?
No, because I don't think Kevin would ever. His whole beef with Cody hinges around Cody teaming up with Roman.
Yeah.
I don't think Kevin, for the same reason that Seth Rollins gave last night, I don't think he's not going to team up with Roman Reigns.
I love that, and I'm for that, and I believe that. But it's one of those things where they could explain it where. You know what? You did this. I'll do this. So we're good, right?
Okay. So what is? Yeah.
So I don't like it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the least favorite one, but a possibility. I think it's going to be a singles match. So here's the people that are left out there. Brock Lesnar.
On which side?
I think Brock Lesnar on the good guy. Paul Heyman comes back and brings Brock.
That's. As far as excitement, that's high up there. Who is Brock's counterpart on
potentially Hikuleo?
Okay, so an actual, instead of just getting a different guy to join in, actually bringing in a permanent fifth member.
Yeah, we get the right before Survivor Series, we get Brock announced, and for the bad guys. It's a mystery, and it's Hikuleo.
Okay. I think here's what I think's going to end up happening. Oh, and real quick for our viewers and listeners, there's currently construction going on here at the Palatial After Show Studio, so you might hear some noise in the background.
No, that's my fiance going, "Stop talking about wrestling."
Or that. I think this is what it's going to be. I think it's going to be where I would rather just add members, like you're saying, like, okay, well, now the original bloodline is going to go to 5 guys, and this is like going to be a new permanent bloodline member, and the new bloodline is going to add a guy, say a Hikuleo, for your example. I would like to see permanent members added. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think what's going to happen is we've got our Bane storyline that's happening in War Games, but let's throw in a B storyline. And I think that B storyline is going to be Seth Rollins, Bronson Reed are going to be the other 2 members.
I don't like it.
I think that's what's going to happen.
Just they said one final match next week. So if the final match is next week, nothing is solved. Then they're like, hey, can we be a part of this just so we can keep fighting?
Well, let's say Solo Sikoa, makes an overture to Bronson Reed. He accepts. There's an unsatisfactory finish to the match next week, and Seth Rollins has to get his hands on Bronson Reed. Yeah. And remember, Adam Pearce told him last night, he was like, 1 more match, right? And that's it.
Yeah.
And if he wants to get his hands on Bronson Reed 1 more time, War Games is the only answer. And so he will reluctantly join the Roman Reigns OTC.
Do you like that?
No, not really, because I don't like Seth Rollins.
Well, there's that.
And I don't like. I haven't paid any. I mean, it's on the TV, so I watch it. But like, I'm not engaged in this Bronson Reed, Seth Rollins.
You like Bronson Reed though?
He's fine. He's a big, you don't like Bronson Reed. He's a big monster guy. He can't fucking talk, man. He like that promo he cut last night, man. It was like NXT level. Like, I'm going to say these things that I'm supposed to say, and
it's not good.
Yeah, and he
needs a mouthpiece,
and he was getting whatted because like the reason the what chants have become a thing is because every one of these guys or girls that come out of the NXT, like, and I hate to say it, but the Dusty promo class, they all have this delivery where they leave holes. And that's where the what's. It's almost like that's where the what's go. Like you're supposed to what them, And so he gave one of those promos last night where it's just like he's just leaving these big holes in it.
He needs a manager.
Yeah, he needs a manager. He's a monster. Monsters need managers.
They do. I mean, even Harley Race, who I hated as I thought Harley
as a
Race,
kid. Yeah.
Well, no. I didn't have a problem with Harley Race the wrestler. I thought Harley Race the manager. I thought sucked.
Oh, okay.
But I think Vader without Harley Race sucks.
Yeah. I mean, you
just something.
You need the handler because the character of the monster in wrestling. You look at this person and you think to yourself, there is no way. How does this fucking guy
get on a plane?
How does he get on a plane? How does he get through life? How does he check into a hotel? He's out of his mind.
Yeah.
There's no way he can do any of this stuff. He has to have a guy, to help him just like get through life, to drive the fucking car.
Yeah, he can't rent a car.
He's too big to sit in the front seat, whatever. He's got to sit in the back, all 400 fucking pounds of him. So monsters need managers. And in this case, I think Bronson Reed is no exception. But that's what so I think that is a likely option for our 5th members of each.
All right. Of CM Punk's out there. Another friend of Paul Heyman.
He is, and he's got nothing going on right now.
And probably more likely to show up than Brock Lesnar. I think Brock Lesnar is coming back sooner than later. And I may be wrong.
One of the rumors we had heard a few months ago, it was going to be Gunther Punk for Survivor Series. Well, we're not getting that. We're getting Gunther and
Damian Priest.
Revitalized.
I love it.
Damian Priest and
a diminished Gunther.
So this is a nice segue. So we might get into this, but as far as our bloodline talk for this week, you think we could about wrap that up?
Yeah, I like the fact that we locked in Sammy on Friday.
Yeah.
Because I didn't need 3 more weeks.
Willie won't he?
Willie won't he?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I like Sammy popped him, and that's all it really took to get Roman Reigns back, as him popping him, even though it was later.
I want to get over. I want to talk about the SmackDown Tag Team Division stuff because that's pretty exciting. But while we're still on Raw, let's talk a little bit about this refurbished Damian Priest that we saw last night.
Sure.
And so he won the 4-way match last week. So he's the number 1 contender for Gunther's championship. Gunther comes out to open the show on Raw and is quickly interrupted by Damian, who basically gives him the Eminem from fucking 8 Mile. Like, I'm going to go ahead and cut your promo on me myself. For you. Says all the
Mom
things.
spaghetti.
Yeah, says all the things. And he's like, what do you got? And, and then he goes to add, he's like, before you won this title, you had this undefeatable aura, and you kind of don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
And hats off to Gunther because you could see it. He is selling that.
Yeah.
He's
good. He's so good.
He's really good.
He has the vibe of one-dimensional, and he so isn't.
Yeah.
But I love the one-dimensional vibe because, like, I think that's something rootable and hateable in a wrestling character, and to have the extra stuff on the edges of that is even better. It's just like you see him as that because I want to see a bad guy. I want to see a good guy. Like, I like that.
Yeah.
But then you have those edges, just like, ooh, wow. So he's everything.
But in modern storytelling, our most compelling villains are the ones that are multifaceted, and they're the ones where you can kind of get a little bit sympathetic with.
Yeah.
Sidebar: have you watched The Penguin on Max?
Yeah, it's next on my list. Yeah, I just finished the Menendez brothers.
It's really good.
That's all I'm hearing. So I'm hearing from everyone.
So as and what they do with that series is the lead is the heel is the lead, the Penguin, and you can't as a storyteller you can't, if you're telling a story about a villain, you can't just make the guy hateable and unrelatable the entire time, or people are going to get bored and check out. So you have to show different sides, and and during the course of the Penguin TV series, he gets up to some despicable fucking shit. But there's until the end, there's always but there's always like, oh man, you get to where you're rooting for him, Not saying that's the case with Gunther, but you're seeing that different side of him, seeing him portray that, not weakness, but that, maybe fallibility. And then right in the middle of this, fucking comes Ludwig Kaiser cutting a fucking promo. all the fucking stuff. This guy, if I was telling you about it a couple weeks ago, if you don't watch the after show of Raw, that's on Peacock, Raw Talk, I think is what it's called. All those little segments are chopped up, and they have them on YouTube, and you can seek them out. And they're tremendous, and it really fleshes out the show. It's stuff that doesn't make the show. A few weeks ago, our boy Ludwig Kaiser, they had Kathy Kelly had a backstage segment with him. And, it's ostensibly, she comes up and it's an interview, like in the modern sense, but he ends up cutting an old school wrestling promo directly to the camera, addressing, I think, Sheamus, in this case. And it was awesome. It was awesome. He's telling Sheamus what he's going to do to him. He's telling Sheamus like who he is and what he's all about. And he ain't shit. And, and a German accent and his style, but that's what he's doing. And it's amazing. So when he came out last night, I was like, here we go. And we get to see a glimpse of that. And then Gunther shuts him down because, he's like, hey, I might be a little diminished, but like I can fight my own fights and say my own words.
So.
And then fucking Ludwig gets shit canned because that is his role
currently.
That's why he's there. And then he takes the L later on in the night. But everything about this,
I'm loving
it. And Damian Priest, who I think and this is par for the course for this guy because if you watch the show for any length of time, you know that I'm always like, Damian Priest, and then every once in a while something will happen. I'll be like, Damian Priest.
Yeah.
And the last time we talked about Damian Priest on this show, was like, he's kind of meandering, kind of just not really, kind of treading water. And now it's like, boom, Damian Priest back at it.
So no, I coverage here on the network. We cover House of Villains, and I'm in communication with the producer from House of Villains.
Of course, you were featured prominently on season one.
And so we have coverage of season 2, and I'm talking with production, and it's just and because we say stuff on the podcast or on the broadcast, and production will be like, actually, you're exactly correct, and no, you're like us going through the walls, like Jen Hoffman from The Apprentice. She's like, that's remote control, and he's like, it is remote control. I asked him if they could do remote control. You going through the walls, and so but. He basically, like, we had a over 1 hour talk the other day, and the whole thing with House of Villains is it's easy to cast 10 villains and put them on a show. The difficulty is their goal the entire time filming that show is to find something likable about all 10 of us, and that's the show.
Yeah.
So and that's what I see with the Gunther thing.
It's compelling. It's compelling storytelling.
Yeah, I love it.
It's layers, and it is always. And this is a running theme with this show as well. And this is why we talk about like things we like, as opposed to things. We can sit here and critique, the stuff we don't like all day. But there's so much to like right now, and just the evolution of professional wrestling storytelling is a topic that we like to get into quite often here on the show, and what we saw last night with Damian Priest and Gunther specifically was a fine, shining example. Of that storytelling. More storytelling is going on in WWE right now is happening over on SmackDown, and it is all revolving around the tag team division. Now, of course, a couple weeks ago we saw the debut of brand new to the WWE audience, but of course, if you followed any sort of independent wrestling for the past 20 years, the Motor City Machine Guns are well known to you as a wrestling fan, and they've shown up and made quite the impact just in the first couple weeks.
Pun intended.
Yeah.
Yes. Did you not mean that?
I did not mean that.
Wow.
Layers, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that's what we're bringing to the table.
So Motor City Machine Guns can't come in, make a splash, boom. They get the tag titles. Now, this upsets upsets the pecking order, because you've had, several teams starting from the bottom. Let's say, I almost said Los Boricuas, but they're not and they're not Los Ingobernables either. They are
the
Legado del Fantasma.
Yeah,
you got those guys. You got your boys, Pretty Deadly.
Yes, you are starting at the bottom and working your way up.
We got
I would say the Street Profits are next.
Street Profits.
Let's pause on the Street Profits.
Okay.
So the two guys from the Street Profits,
Angelo and Montez.
Yes, Montez Ford. Everyone's predicted great things for potential singles career, whatever.
Has not come to fruition.
2 weeks ago, Montez Ford does an interview arranged by WWE, and peek behind the curtain. Whenever they do these interviews, there's someone from WWE watching that you don't see. And he basically cuts a promo on creative. He's like, hey, I was promised all the same way that Cody Rhodes was attacked by Kevin Owens with the fan camera. Mm-hmm. You think we're getting a little of this with the interview thing?
If it's not, they should say it is.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, because that is that's another and I've always said that social media, professional wrestling in the age of social media, if you're not using social media to advance your storylines, then what the fuck are you doing?
But I don't want you to I don't want, if you're not good at it, I don't want you doing it on your on a TikTok.
I've always said, and I've said it on this program before, like wrestlers should kayfabe on social media at all, and in like extra media interviews. Like if you're on, and that's like if you look at recent appearances of Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan on the Chris Van Fleet Insight show. There's a little bit of like, this is like really me, but then there's a lot of kayfabing and working and stuff, and that's man.
MJF, I sent you today.
I gotta check that.
Did you see it with the Macho Man?
No, I didn't check it out.
Oh, I sent you today. There's a guy. MJF is one of these autograph things. He's walking. There's a Macho Man, and they're like MJF, and he's like, "Ooh yeah, suck my dick."
Well, yeah. That's MJF is a kayfabe and mofo for sure.
Yes.
It's Jonny Fairplay, reality TV icon, Survivor Hall of Famer, and I'm talking today about Work Money. Work Money is a non-profit organization that focuses on lowering costs and raising incomes for all Americans to make American life more affordable and American families more economically secure. They provide products, services, perks, benefits, tips, and tools to help members improve their financial lives. It's time to level up and make more money in this economy. We're talking getting rich. Now, this sweepstakes is giving away $50,000. You can use this to pay your rent, your mortgage. Imagine what you can do with all the money that you'll save. Now, this is put on by Work Money, and this site has all these sick benefits, and it's free. Go sign up right now and get more rich. Now, listen, you can change your life. Now, what would you do if you didn't have to pay your rent or mortgage for a year? Listen, sign up right now for free. Link is available right here in the show notes. Check them out. Personally, I'd get more pinball machines. I'm Jonny Fairplay. I wouldn't lie about that. It's Work Money. More money.
So anyway, you got your Street Profits.
Yeah.
You got DIY.
Oh, yeah.
Recent tag team champions, of course. And I think the appearance of Motor City Machine Guns is causing the biggest strain on this particular outfit.
Sure.
Of course, Johnny Gargano and I go back.
We have A-Town Down Under.
Oh, and A-Town Down Under is in there. Is Tommaso Ciampa? That's right, because sometimes I say
Ciampa.
Tommaso Ciampa, or is it, which one is it?
Tommaso Ciampa.
No, it's not.
Tommaso Ciampa.
Yeah, that's what they say. Yeah, that's how they say it. So we're definitely causing a lot of stress in this unit where it looks like he's snapped. And I am here for it. I love a heel Ciampa.
I do too. So, but here, where do we go? Do we break up DIY again and people not care, or do they care this time, or do we just turn them both heel?
Well, people really cared in NXT.
It was one of my favorite feuds of that year.
If they can run that back, which, Triple H is the guy that told that story, the first time he was booking NXT. Him and Dusty. But I think maybe at that point it might have been after Dusty had passed. But regardless, I
think it was after. Yeah,
Triple H knows that recipe.
Yeah, but it worked because they told the success. Do we really have the success story of DIY established in the current WWE
right? And they were
main roster universe.
And they were definitely for NXT. They were at the top of the card.
Yes.
For NXT. Here they're very much in the middle of the card. I don't know. They can have some compelling matches, and
can you live with just Gargano turns heel with Ciampa?
And just a heel DIY? I mean, Gargano, I think I like him better as a heel. Just
I think so too.
Because I don't like him as a babyface.
I think he's too vanilla as a baby.
He is.
I think he's like low budget Daniel Bryan, and it's that sounds like a diss to Gargano, and it's not. Yeah. I love Johnny Wrestling.
Yeah.
So if I'm really Jonny Fairplay, I'm just like, well, fuck, I'm Johnny Wrestling. No, that guy's Johnny Wrestling. I admit that guy's Johnny Wrestling.
Yeah.
So with that, I'm just like, he's a Melba Toast Daniel Bryan. Be evil Johnny Wrestling. That's fucking great.
I'm predisposed to not like him much anyway, and I'm never really going to get behind him as a babyface. So he might as well be a heel.
Okay.
And I think he's better suited for it. So yeah, maybe we see a heel DIY, but actually, in the presentation of Motor City Machine Guns thus far, they're nominally the baby faces.
Yes.
You know, and they were.
I don't see that changing.
And they were definitely fighting from underneath. You know, and with the bloodline, when they won the belts, they won 2 matches back to back. But there's something also in their presentation where, like, I could see those guys turning heel pretty quickly too.
Well, here's the problem.
And the fans are not really necessarily behind them right now, and that's another facet I want to bring up in a second. But go ahead.
Well, here's the problem, because you have A-Town Down Under
Heels.
We're thinking that DIY is going to turn heel.
Okay, well,
pretty deadly.
Let's do one hand and the other. So heels, pretty deadly.
Yeah.
A-Town Down.
Yeah.
DIY.
Presumably,
Don't forget about our the guys I forgot at the beginning.
Yes.
Legado del Fantasma.
Yeah.
So baby faces nominally.
DIY.
Machine Guns.
Yeah.
DIY.
Yeah.
Street Profits.
Yeah, and I think both of those are changing.
So you're gonna have everybody. So yeah,
everyone versus the Machine Guns
and that
can't turn.
In that case, yeah, Machine Guns can't turn for sure. But as far as the fan response to Machine Guns thus far, I was talking to my buddy Greg about this very topic this weekend. The fan response on SmackDown this week, to me, felt maybe a little muted,
a little tepid.
Do you feel that there's a little bit of the Roman Reigns from 8 years ago, like, hey, you're shoving these guys down our throats? Like,
we were here for the journey, and you just got
to the destination. Do you think that's happening?
I don't think so. And that they were in Buffalo for SmackDown, which is a good wrestling town. We literally heard a "fuck you" Solo chant.
We sure did.
to end the show.
Yeah.
So they were in.
Yeah.
And they were not into the Machine Guns.
Not feeling them.
And I feel like, you know, the Machine Guns have been long enough in the world of professional wrestling outside WWE where the people of Buffalo could have figured out something about them.
Right.
So, I
feel like there's a possibility that there's some fan resentment going on. The reaction is tepid. We can both acknowledge that. But what do you feel like the roots are? By unfamiliarity? Is that what you're thinking?
Well, no, because I feel like Boston's a good wrestling town. I feel like they should know who they are.
Buffalo, you mean?
Buffalo, yeah. And so I'm thinking with Buffalo, maybe it's we wanted to watch the journey. Just give it. I mean, it's they're new to this world of main roster WWE. So let's let it play out. I don't know. I'm friends with both those guys.
Yeah.
I like those guys.
I like them
so
too.
So I'm rooting for them. I think they're an amazing tag team.
Them getting the crowd behind them is gonna be, that's crucial.
Yeah.
In this whole thing, if they're gonna if they're gonna be the only fucking babyface team in this division ever against all these heel teams, like, the fans are gonna have to do something to get the fans behind them. But their matches have been great, and it's given us a reason to care about what's going on SmackDown, other than the Bloodline stuff.
Well, didn't Spanky and Paul London take a while to really get the crowd over as well?
I was checked out at that time.
Okay,
so, yeah.
So no, I'm friends with both those guys.
Yeah.
So I felt like it wasn't an overnight success. I felt like there was a time in which I'm just like, are these guys are my friends jobbers, and then they just got to run, and it's just like, and then
I think you got to see them take some lumps. The fans got to see these guys,
brother.
They got to see them take some lumps, and so far they've just been like unfuckwithable, and and that's not going to get you over.
No. We love Cody Rhodes because Cody Rhodes, Cody Rhodes was made in that Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah. For sure. He took a hell of a lump.
Yeah.
Well, that is our modern product talk. Is there anything that you want to get to? I mean, we've talked about a lot of stuff, and I'm hoping maybe you don't want to talk about.
I'm good.
Okay, I'm good too. So moving on, ladies and gentlemen, to our Starcade Sleeper. of the week. Of course, this is the series that we're doing for the month of November, commemorating the granddaddy of them all, baby, Starrcade, the very first wrestling supercard, recurring year after year. Of course, began in 1983, and from Greensboro Coliseum in Greensboro, North Carolina, right here in our beloved Mid-Atlantic territory. And we covered last week. We covered the World Tag Team Championship match between Steamboat and Jay Youngblood and the Briscoe brothers, and that was a banger, but a sleeper.
Yeah.
Because of course, everybody always talks about the big, and we had some controversy last week as to what the true main event of Starrcade '83 was. And I believe, and just to let our viewers and listeners know, we did achieve some resolution due to a mid-roll credits. They showed Jim Crockett Promotions in their presentation broadcast of Starrcade '83 decided to roll their credits during an intermission preceding the main event. But that
have we ever seen that in the history of ever in anything?
I think we probably have. If we watch Starrcade '84 and ʼ85 in their entirety and the way they're presented,
they do the same thing.
Yeah, they probably do, or because there's an intermission. If your main event is in a steel cage, they've got to build the cage.
And so just like, let's just run the credits.
As from nowadays, you're used to the cage just lowering down. Back in the day in the Greensboro Coliseum, in any kind of territory steel cage match, they built the cage wall by wall. So they have to actually set it up and strap it to each ring post. And it takes, 10, 15 minutes. You got to have an intermission, and that's where they presented this credit roll in Starrcade '83. But go ahead.
If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. I could have imagined. Very, very possibly, as we learned last week. But I think I'm correct on this. When WWE presented Starrcade a few years ago, they did a Greensboro one, and I believe they did a Cincinnati one. I'm not.
I don't know.
What was the second? I think the second year was Cincinnati.
I remember I watched it on the network.
Yeah,
and it was.
I was at the one in Greensboro.
It was just a house show that they called Starrcade.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, they built the cage for the main event.
Wow. Okay.
So because we were talking with Little Nate before the show, who was senior. He's a ring guy, but he also put together and took apart the cage.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure they built the cage for Starrcade.
Oh, that's a nice touch. It's a very nice touch.
Oh my God. Like that means so much because back in the day you go to the Greensboro Coliseum, it's just like there's a cage, but it's like, well, they got to build the cage.
Yeah.
Like when they lowered it down, with the music and all that, it's fine, but I like to build the cage.
So for Starrcade '84, we're back in Greensboro.
Oh yeah,
and this is interesting. We were talking about when we started talking about Starrcades, and year by year. I don't know if we did this on air, but I was thinking that that '84 was in Atlanta, but it's not. It's in Greensboro. And an interesting thing is Crockett wasn't even running Atlanta at this point, because at this point in 1984, this is actually when Vince McMahon owned Georgia Championship Wrestling. Everybody
Black Friday.
Everybody
Black
Saturday. Everybody remembers, of course, Black Saturday, and it's Vince McMahon taking over the WTBS time slot of World Championship Wrestling. But that was just, he got that time slot because he actually bought the Georgia territory.
Yeah,
he bought the Georgia territory. So on Thanksgiving 1984, and the Omni was a WWF show. And there's promos around it floating around now. I saw one the other day of Bobby Heenan talking about the big battle royal that was going to happen, and so that's
who doesn't love a nice battle royal.
So that's
lots of good brothers get exchanging forearms.
So that's an interesting sort of bizarro world take that and of course, Starrcade 85 will emanate from Greensboro and Atlanta, and how quickly the wrestling landscape changed in just a matter of a calendar year, where in the Thanksgiving Starrcade that we're talking about, that same night, 1984, WWF was running a card at the Omni in Atlanta, but we are in Greensboro, North Carolina. Starrcade 84, the main event, of course, Ric Flair versus Dusty Rhodes, the $1 Million Challenge.
Not the dark match.
It is the main event.
Yes, after the credits.
It is the main event.
After the credits.
After the credits. Well, not possibly. Maybe they didn't roll the credits because there's no.
Yeah, we don't.
It's not in a steel cage.
Yeah, we didn't confirm this.
The match we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, is definitely preceding that, and it is for the NWA television title. Not the word. This is before it's the world television title.
It's just television, and it is one of those small.
It's
belts.
one of those little Florida belts. They had all them little Florida belts.
I hate those.
Not a great looking belt.
No.
But this is the NWA Television Championship being defended by the current champion, Tully Blanchard, and he's defending against one of the featured competitors in our Starrcade 83 feature, Ricky Steamboat, pre-Dragon.
Yeah.
So this is pre-Horseman Tully, and there is an association with J.J. Dillon at this time, but he's not strictly managed by J.J. Dillon. And, of course, this is a pre-Dragon Ricky Steamboat.
Well, no, there are many WWF broadcasts in which
Ricky the Steamboat?
In which he's called Ricky the Steamboat Dragon by, I believe, Gorilla Monsoon and/or Pat Patterson.
I believe it.
Yeah,
Ricky the Steamboat. I believe it.
Yeah, Pat Patterson on commentary would butcher anyone's name.
He would. And speaking of commentary on this particular match, we're treated to the delight of the team of Gordon Soley and Bob Caudle.
Yeah.
Again, we were talking about this.
Off air.
Bob Caudle in a vacuum, not so much, but you pair him up with Gordon Soley.
Yeah.
A little more palatable.
You put him with talent, and he brings his A game.
Yeah.
You put him with Johnny Weaver, they're both shit in the bed.
Well, Bob Caudle holds a mirror up to his broadcast partner, and if your broadcast partner is Johnny Weaver, of course you're going to get a poor reflection. But the interesting thing about this match is it's the result. Of course, this is the blow off of a program that had been going on between these two competitors for a little while. Steamboat chasing after
10-minute time limit.
Title. It had been chasing after the TV
minutes,
title.
40, 50.
Literally, in a lot of cases, been chasing after Tully Blanchard, who, liked to run away, liked to evade. If he could just run out that time limit, then he's going to walk away once again with his belt. So
and that 50-minute, because you're building up in each of the cities, they're running the circuit. I mean, this is literally the county fair, going from city to city. Yeah. So you do the 10-minute on TV. He doesn't get it. So it's like, hey, when we come to Roanoke, Virginia, I'm getting 30 minutes, brother. And then he escapes, and then it's just like, we're bringing the rematch back next time. We're going 40 minutes. I'm getting the belt. Blah blah blah. Boom. So they're building it up to 50. You can't do the 60 because that's the world title.
Yeah.
So they're doing, but they're milking those 50-minute time limit matches,
increasing time limits every time you see these guys interact, and Steamboat is not getting the job done. And immediately prior to Starrcade 84, they ran an angle on an episode of Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling and this is where you see the beginnings of that association between Tully Blanchard and J.J. Dillon. J.J. Dillon at this point is not the J.J. Dillon that you may be most familiar with as the manager of the Four Horsemen. He is very much like a mid-card heel manager.
Paul Jones at best.
Wearing the rented tux and managing, in this case, he's managing the Mid-Atlantic Tag Team Champions, Black Bart and Ron Bass, who were they were called the Long Riders. They were like a rough and tumble cowboy tag team. And so they had an angle.
Both bootleg Blackjack Mulligans.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah. So they have an angle where Tully Blanchard actually disguises himself as one of these Long Rider guys and the Long Riders, they all team up and they injure Ricky Steamboat's back, which is a story throughout this match. But this match, they don't really mention the time limit tonight, but the rules are, and again, the TV title and money on the line as a theme that we've talked about on this show.
They love money on the.
So they both put up $10,000. So, well, because it's like Tully Blanchard, you keep running, you keep hiding. I'm going to put up $10,000, to get you in the ring. So there's $20,000 on the line. Both guys have put up $10,000. There is the disqualification rule has been waived, which means this is not a no disqualification match. It just means that the title will change hands in the case of a disqualification. Yeah. And very interesting, there's a no run rule.
Yeah.
Which in this case, and which did not catch on in the world of professional wrestling as a stipulation. The no run rule means basically
don't tell Jeff Jarrett this rule. He'll never work another match.
You can't exit the ring. You have to be in contact with the actual ring surface at all time. You can go to the apron, but you cannot go to the floor. Yeah. So these are the rules that they're going to contest this match under, and it gets underway. And immediately we see that Ricky Steamboat's injured ribs are going to be a problem for him.
Apparently,
yeah. And a
lot of work in the ribs. It's just a lot of Tully Blanchard on offense and just like good. It wasn't like Miz heel work. It was if I had to choose between Gunther or Miz as who Tully Blanchard is in this match, it's more Gunther.
He's closer to Gunther in the way he's working, Well, he doesn't get to do any of his chicken shit stuff because, they've taken that off the table. So you actually see a pretty hard-hitting contest between these two guys. You see, Tully Blanchard working the ribs. No holds. Everything's impact in this match. No, you would think
a little bit, but not.
Well, no, you would think you would see a Boston Crab.
No,
an abdominal stretch. Something like that.
Headlock just as a transition.
No, it's a lot of just like
impact.
Put you in the corner. Here's my knee and the ribs. Now that's not to say that Steamboat doesn't get a nice flurry of offense here and there.
Yeah,
but this match, there's back and forth, but basically. Sort of culminates in
a false finish.
Well, let's get there. The final segments of this match are Steamboat basically giving Tully Blanchard everything he's got,
including
let me get there. Gives everything he's got to Blanchard. You see a nice segment with a power slam. There's some body slams. He's doing his martial arts stuff, and he keeps going for pins. And Tully Blanchard is kicking out of all of them.
Yeah.
And they're not false finishes either. They're not like the 2 3/4 or the 2 and 9/10. There's like he's kicking out of 2 on all this stuff. And Tully Blanchard is looking really strong as a result of all these kickouts. And then commentary actually starts putting it over as well. Tully Blanchard, a competitor who up to this point, we had maybe thought was kind of chicken shit.
Yeah.
And, but he is he's double tough, he's rugged, and he's taken everything that Steamboat can dish out.
He's taking everything this guy that's about to leave this territory is given out.
We're going to get to that too. And culminating in Steamboat actually performs Tully Blanchard's signature finisher, the slingshot suplex,
and almost kills him.
Because
he doesn't know what I'm doing.
He does. They hadn't worked on that one. They didn't work on.
They didn't practice.
They didn't work on a lot of shit.
Yeah. I know how to do it. I took it.
Gets another 2 count.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, goddamn, what does he got to do? And then we see a little, going out of the ring, And it flashed. What was the spot you were talking about? It's reminiscent of a spot.
It's the exact spot.
Okay.
It's Macho Man Randy Savage beating Tito Santana for the Intercontinental Championship.
Got the heel outside of the ring.
Yeah, the heel outside the ring, the belly to back suplex. Macho reaches in his tights, foreign object, boom, hits Tito. 1, 2, 3. That's how Macho won the Intercontinental strap.
Yeah.
And so this is right after that, and they're doing this finish, but Steamboat kicks out. Why? Because they're better than that other promotion.
There's that.
That's Dusty, but like Dusty was all that was always the difference between Crockett and New York, because Vince didn't care.
Sure.
Dusty did, and Dusty was like, I want to be better.
Yeah.
So he's like, I'm gonna steal your shit, daddy, and we're gonna kick out your shit, and then we're gonna do something better on the end, and then I'm gonna do a little Dusty finish. It'll be great. And he's like, ooh, it was all great until the Dusty finish.
It's quality Crockett in ring for sure in this match. So whereas we just spent the previous 3-4 minutes seeing Tully kick out everything. Here's Steamboat just got clocked with, and we never see it, roller quarters, brass knucks, whatever it was. Steamboat kicks out because Tully doesn't get right on top of him. There's a little moment where they're both kind of, and Tommy Young, referee Tommy Young is giving a count out, gets on top of Steamboat. He kicks out. There's a few more exchanges, and Steamboat's kicking out of everything, and now he's looking really strong.
Yeah. End of the match has to be.
Irish whip reverses. Here comes Tully. No, here comes Steamboat. Flips over. He's going for the sunset flip, and he's laying on his back.
Yeah.
Trying to pull Tully down, and while referee Tommy Young, seemingly, on first glance, you think, well, why is he in that position? He seems like he's out of position because he is looking at Ricky Steamboat's shoulders when the outcome of this offensive maneuver would be Blanchard getting flipped over and he should be on the other side. Well, that hasn't happened yet. Ricky Steamboat's shoulders are the shoulders that are closest to the mat. And that's where Tommy Young's focus is, and that gives Tully Blanchard just enough leeway to retrieve once again whatever dastardly foreign object.
International object in a few years.
Okay.
Not yet.
Clock Steamboat rolls him up for the 1, 2, 3. So in the ring, a clean finish. We get to see that we see the use of the foreign object, but we have our retaining television champion Tully Blanchard. Now, we were talking about this earlier. If you look at this in the scope of booking and wrestling history, this was Dusty Rhodes' first full year as booker for Jim Crockett Promotions. For newer fans, head of creative.
Sure.
Senior producer is what he was listed as.
Head coach.
And in the credits. And in his first year, 84, it's a year of transition. He's bringing in, as bookers will often do in the territory days,
their guys, brother.
They're going to bring in their guys that they want to bring in, and the guys that have been in the territory, which ostensibly are the reason you're bringing in a new booker, because business is down, and business was down for Crockett.
You keep the guys that are good, and the guys that probably should have been gone or whatever, you job them out. Or at the same time, you also have the Vince dynamic of stealing talent.
Well, yeah. So
I feel like Dusty's serving two masters here.
Well, what this match is, it's a microcosm of that situation in match form, because you have Tully Blanchard, who's very much a Dusty guy, who was, had come into the territory and really lit it up with a lot with solid runs. He had a tag team with Wahoo McDaniel. They did a lot of damage. This is when Wahoo was a heel.
Yeah.
He feuded with Flair.
Yeah.
This is when Flair was a nominal babyface. So you have Tully, who is very much the new guy, and Ricky Steamboat, who had been the symbol of Mid-Atlantic Wrestling for years at this point, had been, hadn't gone anywhere else. I mean, he homesteaded the Mid-Atlantic territory. And if this was not his last match for Crockett, it was not far from it.
If memory serves correct, he either gave his notice prior to this, that night, or the next day.
He was on his way out.
It was that,
and he went out on his back. As the time-honored tradition of professional wrestling. And then, of course, when the Dusty booking really starts taking hold, the territory gets lit on fire, and that's going to be the golden age of Crockett Promotions in 85 and 86, which we're going to be getting into
next week on
Starcade Sleepers. And we might just do this right now because we haven't discussed this. So let's talk about Starcade 85 for a second. Of course, we have the I Quit match. That's been talked about to death. We've got the Dusty Flair Starcade rematch. This time it's in Atlanta, and this is the Dusty finish of all Dusty finishes, where he walks out with the World Heavyweight Championship, and then soon to give it
back on TV.
But due to referee controversy, those have been covered. Other matches from Starcade 85 that I can think of. One that comes straight to mind, and this might actually be the one we do. The Midnight Express Starcade debut, and it's the Midnight Express in the Atlanta Street Fight versus Jimmy Boogie Woogie Man Valiant and his tag team partner Miss Atlanta Lively.
Oh, let's do that.
You want to do that one?
Oh, that's we burden these people with the greatness of Jimmy Garvin in the past. Let's give them the payoff.
All right, so this is going to be this is a tuxedo match, which means your opponent, in order to win the match, you must strip your opponent to their skivvies.
Oh my God! My fiance is leaving me. Watching me watch this match.
It's going to be, and it's not it's on paper it's an intergender match, but it's the Midnight Express and their manager Jim Cornette versus the Boogie Woogie Man Jimmy Valiant and his partner, his street woman, if you will,
his street
Miss Atlanta Lively. Which we're not even going to give it away.
No spoilers.
We're not going to give it away.
Get ready. Go ahead and watch this, folks. But you're going to be like, "Are you kidding me?"
Fire up the Peacock. And
that's what they said when they saw Miss Atlanta Lively.
Fire up the Peacock. And dial up Starcade 85 and be sure to find the tuxedo match. And that will be our Starcade Sleeper for next week. But if that's all we got for this time, you want to tell them what you're up to, where to find you, and all that good stuff?
Wednesday night, it is Survivor night, and I am touring again. I will be at Clouds Brewcade in Durham, North Carolina. Tickets available at SurvivorTix.com. That's SurvivorTix.com. That's this Wednesday night. We're watching Survivor. I'm not alone. I have Andrew. I have Adam Gentry joining me. I have Zane Knight joining me. It's going to be a good one. SurvivorTix.com, Durham, North Carolina, tomorrow night. Get your tickets now. VIP will sell out.
There it is.
Where do we find you, Heath?
I'm barely alive on Instagram at Heath Haynes DJ, and I'm not doing anything, but if I am, that's where you're going to hear about it. Check it out. Well, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, for my broadcasting colleague, Jonny Fairplay, my name is Heath Haynes. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Wrestling After Show. And for the lean times and in between times, we'll see you next time.